So our last expert for the day is Joep Driessen with a presentation about the impact of farm management on the number of lactations per cow. Off you go.
Thank you. Hi, Joep Driessen here with 5 lactations. How can we do that? The practical part of it. Well, I was born on a dairy farm in Luxembourg, where I helped my dad, and I was quite a young guy, and this is my son on our sheep farm now. My dad called me out when I was 10 years old on the sheep farm, and he said, you have to help me with the calving, with the giving birth to the baby lambs, because I can't get in with my big hands. And I was going down in the straw and trying to get one baby out, another baby out. And then I was standing up, and I was really happy and proud, and I think, wow, everybody's happy, 2 live lambs. I thought, I'm a vet already. It's amazing. And then I looked at my knees, and both of my knees were wet. And my mother, she saw it too, and she said to my dad, hey, Joop, this is not good enough. You have to put more straw in here. It's too wet for my baby lambs. And my dad said to my mother, no, this is good enough, because it's a lot of work and costs a lot of money. And they were both right. My dad was an agricultural economist from the Wageningen University, and always in the top 5% of the economic benchmarks and earning some money with his sheep. And my mother was a nurse. She was taking care of the 4 kids in the family and the baby lambs. And they were both right. And then I realized that this dilemma, many years later, is always there. The dilemma between care and money in every farmer's head. And that's why we have to just... we realized afterwards there is no dilemma, because the better care you take, the more money you get. But it's still there in every farmer's head, so we have to work on that. Well, let's have a look at successful management around calving, because that's the topic of the day. What happens in this period? 80% of the disease starts here. So what can we do to make that better? Well, it starts with observation. If you look at this picture, what do you see? Have a close look, and you see 5 things. And if you look more carefully, you see even more things. And this is when you don't do a dry-off therapy. That means that the last 5 days of the lactation, you stop, you milk the cow for 5 more days, but you give them dry cow feed. So they drop from 25 to 12 liters. And then you have less leaking after dry-off. You also see the flies and the dirt, and you see the lack of bedding. So if you think about the practice, what we see in the world, cows lack bedding, soft bedding. You also see dirty hoofs. And you see also the teat ends are very close to the dirty hoofs. So that's all little things that can be improved. If you look at dry cows or any cow, I always want you to see the standing cow, because your standing cow is your best management advisor. And cows that are standing, they're trying to tell you something, because they have no time to stand. They should be resting and eating. Resting and eating. So a soft bed and a nice soft bed and enough place to eat. 85 centimeters per cow, so that every cow can have 12 meals a day. Another 5 things on this picture. What do you see? 5 things on this picture. Have a close look. If you look carefully, you see that they are standing behind the beds with 2 legs in the manure, which is bad for hoof health. If you look more carefully, you see all these 5 cows standing in their beds have a curved back. They have a slightly curved back, so you can see they are actually lame. And that's a big issue, the lameness on dairy cows. So if you look at the facts and the figures here from the Netherlands, and the rest of Europe is not better, it's often worse. It's probably the 30% wounded and 25% lame cows. That's really striking. That's too much. 50% subclinical milk fever and 50% bloody soles, laminitis, from standing on concrete. Cows are not made for standing on concrete. 26% mastitis, 25% subclinical ketosis. That's a result of everything we just discussed. And 20% culled in the first lactation. This is a European figure. And 12% calf losses. That's a Dutch figure. So there's a lot to improve on dairy farming. And that's what I've been busy for the last 20 years. Some of the questions were, what is the most optimum lactation number? And that was a really interesting one, because this is a research from the Dutch figures from the CRV. And you see that we had almost 9,000 dairy cows in this graph. And what do you think? 100,000 liter cows, when do they reach the top? So the top of the dairy industry, 25,000 animals in the Netherlands did this already. And here we got the results. And it's actually 6 and 7. 7 is the ultimate top. in production, the highest feed efficiency on the 7th lactation. But actually 5, 6, 7 and 8 are almost equally high. If you replace it with an 8,000-liter cow, you see that you lose 3,000 liters. So keeping the cow from 5 to 6 to 7 lactations will give you 3,000 liters extra instead of replacing that cow. So there's no reason to replace a cow, basically. If, what Lance also said, and Albert de Vries, was if you can keep them healthy. And that is a big challenge. How can you keep them healthy? I think we can double the lifetime of all the cows in the world. If you look at the figures in, I think it was in London, 200 years ago, people became 40 years old. And now they become 80 years old. So we doubled the lifetime of people in 200 years. I think we can do the doubling of the lifetime of cows in the next 10 years, if we just do what it takes.